how does one play those emerging market geographies? What are those long-term trends according to you?
Yeah, so the most interesting one to me right now is around automation and robotics. Now, that may not apply from an India point of view, but take a look at what's happening. So China is already the biggest buyer of industrial robots in the world. And they want to build their own industrial automation sector. And so there are some emerging Chinese companies that investors should look at in that space. Globally, working age population is going to shrink. And as I said, probably this is extremely focused from a China point of view. So I think that's a bright spot from an emerging markets point of view, because there are some opportunities there. I think from a consumer staples point of view, investors need to think very clearly about how much they pay for these equities in terms of what the potential future growth is, because top line growth and margin growth is going to be a function of the demographics. Now, as I said, Gen Z is a bright spot, and that means premiumization. So when investors think about consumer staples, they should be looking for premium brands, because that fiscal responsibility comes through strongly from Gen Z, and also that desire to own quality products. In fact, what really surprised us was the strong leaning towards luxury that seems to be coming out of Gen Z. So I think that's something that people should be looking at, and people should be thinking about household formation and the read through into property. Now, from an India point of view, I think that's also a bright spot. You have some interesting sectors or stocks focused on, emerging middle class, low cost housing. So I think that's an area to look at. Investors should be cautious about automotive, because what came through quite strongly in our surveys is Gen Z maybe doesn't want to own a car. And so I know a lot of people have been focused on the shift from two-wheelers to four-wheelers, especially from an India market perspective. I think that theme is still there, but people should bring a little bit of caution to the table around that, because maybe Gen Z doesn't want to drive, or not, let me correct that, doesn't necessarily want to own a car. They may actually drive cars, but they maybe don't want. So the ownership model might shift. Those are some ways of thinking about it from an EM point of view. And as I said, also Indonesia, investors should be looking at Indonesia. They should be looking at Bangladesh. Should be looking at Pakistan. They should be looking at some of these growth markets in the rest of emerging markets, Cambodia, Vietnam, etc.